Llegó el momento. Fue un proceso tan intenso, tan diferente a todos los procesos que yo he vivido en mi vida, porque incluso a día de hoy sigo procesando y sigo recibiendo información.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dear viewers, this is the story of a girl named Mariana who grew up in Colombia and later moved to Egypt. From the outside, her life looked good, but inside she felt empty and confused. She went through many emotional struggles and tried to find peace in different ways. Over time, she started asking deeper questions about life, faith, and who she really was. Her journey took her from Colombia to Spain and then to Egypt, where she experienced something that slowly changed her heart and finally she accepted Islam. This story is about her search for truth, her struggles, her fears, and how she found a new path that gave her meaning and peace.
Hi, everyone. So, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Go ahead, get comfortable, grab something to eat or drink, relax, because today I'm going to talk in detail about where I was born, where I used to live, where I live now, who I am, what my religion is now, what it used to be, everything like that. So, yeah, let's get started. My name is Mariana. I'm from Colombia. I'm 29 years old, and right now I'm living in Egypt. I moved here 6 years ago from Colombia. I was born in Colombia and grew up there. I was raised in a Catholic family. We were religious, like we used to go to church every Sunday. I did all my schooling in a nun's school from around age 4 all the way to 17. If I talk about myself personally, I'd say that on the outside, I was actually very lucky. I had a loving family. But on the inside, I felt completely empty. I was someone who struggled a lot emotionally. I had psychological issues, I went through therapy, and during that time, I was on a lot of medication. Those medications really affected my memory. I used to forget a lot of things in life. Because I was taking so many meds and dealing with so much emotional and mental pressure, my self-confidence was basically destroyed. Because of all that, I developed this strong desire to leave Colombia. I never felt like I fit in there. I didn't like Colombian women, and I didn't want to be like them. In Colombia, women are very focused on showing off their bodies and using that to attract men. But I don't really want to go too deep into that because I know it might offend some people. And it wasn't just in childhood. Even as a young adult, I was always a bit different from the usual social mindset. Even though my parents never really restricted me, I still didn't like going to parties at all, especially the kind where alcohol is everywhere. Around that time, I got an opportunity to go to Spain, and I immediately said yes. Even though I had no clear plan, like I didn't know why I was going or what I would do there, I just went for the adventure. Honestly, I just didn't like Colombian society and was looking for any chance to escape. During that time, I had also become distant from God. To some extent, I had even become atheist. Then, after living in Spain for a while, I started traveling around Europe. During that trip, I went to Vatican City, and after a long time, I visited a church again and prayed. There, I also had the opportunity to do confession, but when I sat in front of the priest, the very first thing he asked me about was my sexual life. That felt really strange and uncomfortable to me. When I answered him, he told me that I wasn't worthy of being in God's house and that I should leave. That moment was the final breaking point for me. After that, I completely cut off my relationship with the church, religion, and even God. But then in 2020, COVID happened, and I got stuck in a difficult situation in Spain. During that time, God helped me and got me out of that situation. That's when I realized that God had always been with me, helping me all along. For the first time, I truly thanked God from my heart. Then came 2024 and 2025, a time when I started seriously thinking about my life. I had always been interested in social media and creative work, so I decided to choose content creation as my path. I quit my job and started a new journey. I began expressing my emotions through videos. 2024 was a year of transformation for me. I went back to Colombia where I met a special person, Nico, who had the ability to communicate with angels. I felt like I needed to truly fix my relationship with God. But at that time, I was practicing manifestation. I believed that the power inside a person is actually the real God, and I was trying to fix my life through that belief. During that spiritual search, I connected with Nico. Our meeting was very deep. I started doing consultations with him, and they were way more successful than I expected. On the first day, I made 2,000 euros, and then in another week, I made 10,000 euros. That success surprised me, and I even achieved the financial goal I had set for myself. I thought that once I achieved my financial and professional goals, I would finally be happy. But the truth was, nothing had changed inside. The same emptiness, the same dissatisfaction, the same feeling that something was missing, it was all still there. I kept thinking, when is this inner emptiness going to be filled? What is this feeling that's eating me from the inside? This feeling of not being enough, of lacking something, it was destroying me internally. During that time, a special person came into my life. She reminded me of an old dream, something that had been hidden deep inside me, my dream of going to Egypt. Back in 2019, when I was traveling through Europe, my original plan was to visit Rome, Egypt, and Barcelona. But my parents didn't allow me to go to Egypt because it's a Muslim country, and they thought it was dangerous for a girl traveling alone. So that part of the trip got canceled. So now when the opportunity came again and that person invited me to go to Egypt in December, I was honestly surprised. I had always dreamed of going to Egypt for no specific reason. Some people dream of Paris or Rome. My dream was Egypt. So I decided to go. I started preparing for the trip, focusing mostly on historical places like the pyramids, museums, and all that. So when I arrived in Egypt, that's when the second part of my story began, like a kind of spiritual awakening. Over there, we hired a guide. His name was Kareem. When I saw the society in Egypt for the first time, I was honestly shocked. I had never seen so many Muslims all together in one place before. I didn't really have any strong negative ideas about them. The only thing I kind of believed was that maybe Muslim women are pressured and that they wear the hijab because of their husbands. But honestly, I didn't have any deep knowledge about it. Just whatever I had seen on social media or in TV news. On the first day, we went to the Muhammad Ali Mosque. For me, this was a completely new experience. The atmosphere in the mosque was so grand, but at the same time so peaceful, completely different from a church. I felt this strange sense of belonging there. And honestly, even something as simple as walking barefoot inside the mosque, it felt amazing. Kareem explained to us the 5 pillars of Islam. And then, during that time, the call to prayer happened. When I saw people standing up to pray, men and women praying separately, I felt this kind of beauty that I can't really explain. It felt like those people had a deep connection with their God. I listened to Kareem talking about his religion, and I was surprised at how proudly he spoke about his beliefs. And I realized something. I wanted that too. I wanted that kind of connection with a religion, with God, that kind of certainty, that kind of pride. During that same trip, I also felt like in Egypt, in a Muslim society, women have a certain respect, a certain position. And in that moment, an old part of me came back. The girl who wanted to stay pure until marriage, who wanted to be with only one man. I realized that the values I had always wanted, the ones I felt were missing in Colombian society, I could actually see them in this religion and this way of life. Then when I went back to Spain, I started reading about Islam, especially the rules and principles for Muslim women. At first, it all felt very difficult. During that time, I was still in contact with Kareem. Then the next year, I decided to go back to Egypt, specifically during Ramadan. I thought maybe changing my environment would give me some peace. So I came to Egypt in February, planning to spend part of Ramadan there. Kareem told me, try fasting for just one day. But I said, no, I want to fast the whole month. Then the first day of Ramadan came, and I was alone. Everyone else was breaking their fast with their families, and I was by myself. Inside me, there was this intense feeling, like I wanted to do something the right way, but I didn't know how to. I broke my fast, and then I went to bed, and I cried like someone had died. That day, I can say that an old version of me died, and a new Mariana was born. What was hurting me was the question, why am I changing? Whole that day, I didn't tell everyone anything. I just kept crying. Then I told myself, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to understand Islam the way I want to understand it, not for anyone else, but to figure out what's happening inside me. That same day, I downloaded the Quran. I started watching Islamic videos on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, but there was very little clear information and a lot of differences. I was confused. What should I believe? What should I not believe? Where do I even start? I started reading the Quran, but it was difficult. It's not easy to understand, especially with the translation I had, which was also pretty complex. Still, I decided that I would follow this path no matter how hard it was.
Dear viewers, before we continue with the video, I have a quick little request. If you like this story and you are interested in watching more videos like this, stories of people accepting Islam with voice dubbing, then please make sure to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon next to it so that every new faith inspiring video reaches you first. Also, please like this video and let us know in the comment section how you felt about our efforts and work. Jazakumullah khairan.
But it's not like I accepted Islam immediately. However, I did start learning about it and understanding it from the heart. And the biggest reason for that was that I had always disliked the immodest lifestyle of Colombian society. And on the other hand, the kind of modest life I wanted to live, I was starting to see that in Islam. But the process of learning and understanding Islam was not easy at all. Arabic was very difficult for me, and honestly, that became my biggest challenge and obstacle. Especially learning how to pray, it was the hardest part for me. Still, I trusted myself. I kept learning, I kept reading, and slowly I started to understand something important, that I wasn't moving away from the God I believed in during Christianity. I was actually getting closer to him. I didn't stop believing in Jesus and Mary. Instead, everything started coming together for me, like pieces of a puzzle. I realized that the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, all talk about the same God. The difference is in understanding and interpretation. When I read the Quran, I felt like my previous beliefs weren't disappearing. They were actually becoming stronger, like I was finally understanding them more deeply. I felt like I wasn't betraying my faith. I was expanding it. I was understanding it in a better way. When I started reading Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest chapter in the Quran, I began to find answers to many of my questions. At first, I used to think that I wouldn't accept Islam until I had fully learned everything, until I could pray perfectly, and until I had read the entire Quran. Then I reached a point where I asked myself, what am I even waiting for? I was slowly breaking my old ways of thinking, reevaluating my beliefs, and I started to feel that there is a completely different way to live life. But at the same time, there was a very deep and intense pain inside me. Because my heart wanted to accept Islam, it was being pulled toward it, but I was very afraid. Afraid of my family, my friends, and most of all, social media, because I knew the reaction there would be harsh. My family had already started to sense something. I'm not someone who is very close to a lot of people anyway. I mostly just talk to my mom, dad, my sister, and a few close relatives. One time, I asked my mom what she would think if I became Muslim, and she clearly said, "Don't do that." While I was studying Islam, I also had books, and I talked to my dad about it. Those conversations were very difficult. Because of everything that has happened in the world in the name of Islam, people have strong impressions, and the media often shows only the negative side. I had multiple discussions, even arguments with my dad. And with my mom, too, conversations would become tense. Because of this, my journey became even more lonely. My family didn't understand me, and I couldn't openly talk to my friends either. I had only one best friend, but even she was far away in another place during that time. It was a very painful and isolating experience. But now when I look back, I understand I had to walk this path alone. During that time, I decided to go to Egypt for the third time because I felt like I needed to give a complete ending to my old self and give a proper beginning to my new identity. Around the same time, I also stepped away from social media because I couldn't express what I was feeling inside. Social media had always been my way of expressing emotions, and when I go silent, it means there's something inside me that I don't fully understand yet. In my heart, I had a strong desire to become Muslim, to say the Shahada, and to wear the hijab. For me, hijab wasn't just something external, it was a deep inner desire, even though I didn't know when I would be ready for it. Then, when the opportunity to go to Egypt came again, I thought, I want to become Muslim before going there so I can pray in a real mosque. During that time, I started noticing small signs that were strengthening my belief. When I searched for mosques in Madrid, I found out that there was one very close to my house, even though I had been living there for 2 years and had no idea. That really surprised me. I went there. At first, it was closed, but then I started going during prayer times. Around that time, I also connected with a girl who helped me go to the mosque. When I prayed there for the first time, I felt a strong certainty inside me that yes, I truly want to become Muslim. Then one day, I woke up and I had complete certainty in my heart that I want to make Islam part of my life. I wrote a long message to my parents explaining that I wanted to become Muslim and what changes would come in my life, like not drinking alcohol, not eating certain foods, and wanting to wear hijab. My family's reaction was very short. There weren't many questions, no deep conversations, just a sense of distance. There was an emotional distance between us, and communication became less. However, my sister reacted very positively and supported me. I had planned that I would accept Islam before going to Egypt, but I wouldn't announce it immediately. I would announce it after reaching Egypt, wear the hijab there, and record a video in a mosque to upload on YouTube. But that's not what happened. I accepted Islam on a Sunday. The same day I told my family, I officially told the people close to me that I am Muslim. On Monday, I uploaded a video on Instagram announcing that I had accepted Islam. And on Tuesday morning when I woke up, there was a voice inside me saying, "Wear the hijab." I kept telling myself, not yet, there's still time. It was early May, and I still had about 15 days before going to Egypt. I kept thinking I would wear it there. But that voice inside me kept repeating, "Wear the hijab." And finally, I did. That same day, I made my first video for my YouTube channel where I shared that I had accepted Islam. And after that, it felt like the whole world turned against me. I made the decision myself to wear the hijab. I chose it on my own, and I openly announced on social media that I am Muslim. But what happened after that is very hard to explain. I faced intense hate and criticism. It affected me so deeply that I completely shut down from the inside. I closed my heart, my home, my soul, everything, because people's behavior was extremely harsh and cruel. Anyway, my going to Egypt, getting married, how my family's negative reaction eventually got better, and settling in Egypt permanently after marriage, that's all a long story, one that I'll share some other time. But for now, this video is already very long, so let's end it here. Please remember me in your prayers. Assalamu alaikum.